What is up, everybody? Ken here from Mid-Level Media, and I wanted to do a little Blu-ray review today of Edge of Sanity. This is the latest Arrow Video Blu-ray release. This one came out, I think, a couple of weeks ago, June the 21st, and I want to talk about this movie. I want to talk about the Arrow Video transfer, the quality of it, the audio and special features and the packaging and all that stuff, and I want to talk about why I think that this is probably one of the more underrated Blu-rays of 2022 so far. It's definitely one I think you guys should own. It's very rare I start off a review by telling you right away you need to buy this one before I even get into talking about it, but I'm going to tell you why here in a second. But before I get into it, I have to ask, if you are not yet a subscriber to the Mid-Level Media channel, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button for more great content. I do tons of stuff on this channel, mostly centered around the world of Blu-rays and 4Ks and physical media. I do Blu-ray and 4K reviews like this. I do Blu-ray hunting videos, news updates every single Monday, unboxings, collection hauls, just everything physical media. If you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. Also, be sure to like this video and comment down below, guys. Have you seen Edge of Sanity before? Starring the great Anthony Perkins, who we all know and love as Norman Bates. Have you seen this one before? What did you think of it? Let me know in that comment section below. And also let me know if you're planning on purchasing this based on my recommendation. I will be leaving a link down below. It's a retelling of the classic Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story. So if you've seen those old school Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde films from the 20s and the 30s, I think they remade the movie every decade. It's, you know, you've seen this type of story before, but this one puts a really interesting spin on it. This movie is very dark and very twisted, very sinister. It's very, I almost mean-spirited in just its approach, and especially what happens at the end of this movie, which I will not spoil. I'm going to try my best to dance around any particular plot points, but it basically has Anthony Perkins as the character of Dr. Jekyll. He's developing a new anesthesiac, and everything just goes horribly awry, and he starts to kind of not really transform, but just kind of change his demeanor. His face gets a little bit, it's almost like they just put a coat of makeup on his face. So he does have a transformation, but it's not like a full transformation, which they actually talk about that. They go into that in the special features, how it was really important to the director and Anthony Perkins, who he collaborated with very heavily on the creation of this movie, on the production of this movie. It was very important for them to not make a full-on like transformation as some kind of hideous beast, which is what it was in the past. They wanted to maintain the features of Anthony Perkins, but just put a little bit of makeup on his face and just kind of let the character and the monster live through the performance of Anthony Perkins, which I think was a great choice because Anthony Perkins is just such a phenomenal actor, and he does an excellent job in this movie. I cannot say how great he is in this movie enough. He's just phenomenal in this performance. But basically things go horribly awry, and he basically takes off into the night. He's like a creature of the night. And this does play like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story, but it's also part Jack the Ripper as well. So he is prowling the streets of London at night. He is finding these prostitutes. He is killing people in the streets. So it does play like a Jack the Ripper type story as well. I don't know if I don't think I've ever seen a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde story before. I don't know if that's something that this story does kind of dive into, if it does play like that in some of the older films. But this is what I would describe as like part Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, part Jack the Ripper. He's murdering prostitutes in the streets at night. It's such a dark story, and it's so almost dreamlike. It's very weird. It's very bizarre in its filmmaking, and just the way that it's shot and filmed is so incredibly interesting. This was directed by a French filmmaker who only did adult films, I think, up until this point. I think he worked on some of the Hammer horror films from back in the 50s and 60s, and then he moved on into directing adult films into the 70s and into the 80s, and then he got the job on this film right here, which was an actual legitimate film. This is a British film as well. So it is, you know, UK based as far as, you know, where it was filmed and where it was released back in the 80s. This one came out in 1988. It says 89 back here on the case, but when they were talking about it in the special features, they said it was 1988, so I'm not exactly sure when it was released theatrically. Maybe it did like a premiere or something in 88 and was released theatrically in 89. But the filmmaker's name is Gerard Ciccone. I hope I pronounced that right. But I just thought he did a fantastic job directing, like just the style and the overall like direction, and just the way that the shots and way that the camera was angled in certain scenes and sequences just really amped up like the tension and suspense and just the overall mood of this movie. And I just thought it was such a cool little movie, just the way that they, and Anthony Perkins, guys, look, I'm not going to call this movie a masterpiece by any means, but Anthony Perkins definitely takes this story and takes this material and elevates it so incredibly much. Like his performance is outstanding in this film. And I would never say that it's just as great as a performance as, his portrayal as Norman Bates in Psycho, but it's right there. Like, it's right underneath of it. It's definitely on its heels for sure. And I just think that, yeah, this is definitely one of the greatest performances I've ever seen Norman Bates in besides Psycho. Again, I haven't seen him in a ton of things, but the way that he balances just the good and the evil of his character and the way that he switches on a dime is just something that very few actors can pull off and accomplish and make it feel believable. And the fact that he can do it without actually changing any of his facial features was just incredible. I just thought his performance was so good in this movie. I cannot say enough good things about it. He is so dark and sinister as the character of Mr. Hyde, just the way that he patrols and prowls the streets, the way that he, approaches these women, the way that he gets involved with these women in very sexual ways. Just those situations. It's a little awkward in some parts because they are very young women. And Anthony Perkins at this point, I think, was pushing 60 as far as his age, because this was almost 30 years after he was in Psycho. So it's a little awkward watching such an older man interacting with these younger women in the way that he is, because he's just like super like hypersexualized. And I've just never really seen Anthony Perkins in this type of role before, but it's really good. It's really good. And like I said, just the way everything's shot is so incredibly interesting and captivating, and it just keeps you on edge and just keeps you hooked throughout the entire runtime of this film. So I thought this was a great movie. I just thought it was, I'm not going to say it's a masterpiece or anything. I don't want you to take me the wrong way, but I think it's a really cool movie. And I think it's one that, I for sure hadn't really heard of before Arrow Video announced this. And I'm just hoping that more people check this out, more people appreciate this as part of the, filmography of Anthony Perkins, because I just think he does incredible work in this movie. Like I said, just a really cool tone, really cool aesthetic. They really capture that nighttime, like London aesthetic, that period piece setting. It is set in the early 1900s, I believe, in London. And it's just a really cool time, really cool period piece setting. They just really capture all of that really well. As an actual film itself, guys, I got to give this pretty high marks. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed the movie. And some of you guys might watch and be like, what? He gave this a 4 out of 5? I can see that going that way, but I just really dug it. I just really took it for what it was. It has some giallo flavor in there as well. It just reminded me of like an older, like Dario Argento type movie. It just has that flavor of like a tenebrae, of like a deep red, just fused with this like British UK style and aesthetic. So I really dug this one, really enjoyed it. Getting into the transfer, this is a 2K restoration from a 4K scan of the original 35mm camera negative by Arrow Films. I thought this transfer was outstanding. Again, it's not 4K quality. It's not a 4K disc, but it is a 4K scan, and I just thought it did a ton to enhance just some of the gorgeous like colors and scenery in this movie. There's so many different types of colors in this film. There's a lot of purples, a lot of blues, a lot of red backgrounds when they get into some of those like theater settings and some of those brothels with the prostitutes and stuff. Just a lot of red backgrounds. It just look excellent and amazing with this 4K scan. Just the facial detail and just the depth and black levels. Everything just looked crazy good. Everything popped with this transfer, so cannot recommend that enough. As for audio, it does have the original uncompressed stereo audio in it. There's optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. There's a brand new audio commentary by writer David Flint and author and filmmaker Sean Hogan. You also get an interview with director. You get 2 interviews with the director where he talks about his career as a director and just all the stuff he's done throughout his career. And then you get a special feature, an interview with him talking about the making of this movie and just some really interesting stuff in there. I watched both of those. And yeah, you get a brand new interview with Stephen Thrower, author of Nightmare USA, which is a really good special feature as well. Then you get a brand new interview with Dr. Claire Smith, who is the author of Jack the Ripper in Film and Culture. And she talks about the real life Jack the Ripper and how this movie took influence and how just different movies from the past and film history have taken influences from this real life character. So just some really interesting stuff. Like I said, a lot of special features, a lot of really great special features, about 2 hours total of brand new special features. Some of these were filmed in 2020, but they were, put out with this Arrow Video set. So some great stuff here. Get into the packaging. I absolutely love this artwork right here. And this is from the artist Graham Humphreys. And I thought he did a fantastic job with this artwork. It's definitely really cool. Some of the best artwork Arrow Video's done. And I'll show you the back of this if you want to see the special features and casting lists and specs and in greater detail. You got some disc art in there, which is really cool as well. You got some cards. You got a nice little booklet in here. Arrow Video just always does top-notch work. Even when it's just a basic Blu-ray case, they still do their best. His wife in this movie is great as well. I don't know that actress's name, but she's phenomenal in this movie. They have some great chemistry in the film. So I really enjoyed her and her performance. Definitely a stunning woman as well. There's a lot of really, nice-looking women in this film, which makes it, even more, appealing to watch. But yeah, some cool stuff in this booklet and just showing some of the reversible cover arts. This is a very basic, poster from the film, but it's pretty cool. Kind of showing you the differences between the Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde right there. As you can see how he transforms. It almost looks like in that photo that he goes like full zombie mode, but it felt a little bit more lighter, just the shift and the overall like look of him. But like I said, all of that almost is just his performance. Like just the change in his facial features and his overall demeanor just comes from his performance in this movie. He just did a remarkable job in this film. So overall, guys, look, it's a high recommendation from me. I think you need to check this one out. I think you need to own it in your collection. The transfer is top notch. This is one of the Arrow Video's best Blu-ray transfers of the year, up there with Shock, which came out earlier this year. Just a great transfer, top notch work from Arrow Video. And the movie itself is really cool. Highly recommend the film. So great special features. I think it's well worth $20. And again, I will link that down below in the description. So hope you enjoyed my review of Edge of Sanity. Let me know your thoughts on the movie in the comment section below. Also, let me know if you're going to purchase this based on my recommendation. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications for all future videos and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.